to jump on and talk with you guys a little bit about something that has been on my mind a lot lately. And I think it's partly because I am like a new empty nester. My husband and I, our youngest child, went away to college. Even though she's still in the same state, she's about an hour away, and she stays on campus. And like, one of the deals was that we weren't going to, like, we were going to give her a space. It was really important for us to create that space so that she could start maturing and making decisions for herself. But anywho, so I'm telling you that just to say that a lot of what I'm about to say has kind of started bubbling up inside of me based off of the fact that now, like, it's my husband and I in the house, and we now have like a lot of wonderful time for each other, right? But we also have time for ourselves as individuals as well. And for me, I am coming to this space where I'm just like kind of like, wow, and it's not that I don't have this whole list of things that I want to get done in life and all that, but it is just I guess digesting the process, and the reality that now I have this time. And I say that because I find myself, and maybe there's some of you guys out there like this, I find myself like having a hard time with all of a sudden having all this time to like commit to things that I have been wanting to do forever, for at least 18 years, at least. And now I have this opportunity, and it's like, okay, how do I get moving on this? And I don't mean how do I get moving on this in relation to doing it, right? I mean, my mind has so adjusted to being a mom, a wife, a friend, a sibling, a nurse, like a co-worker. Like, my mind has so adjusted to always having to think about others and how my decisions would affect others. And now let me say this: I still have to do that, but I think I'm trying to. I still have to think about how my decisions affect others, but there's a lot of the things that I am now able to do that, like, they really don't. Like, they affect me and my happiness and my next moves, right? And so, as I've been thinking about this and putting things in place, and okay, I want to have this done by this day, and I want to accomplish this by this age, yada yada yada. One of the things that I find myself struggling with is that, I have gotten so used to doing what I do for others because I wanted things to be positioned in the right way, and for us to be this far in life by this point, and for my kids to grow up like this or to have that. So, I had that in my head the whole time, those particular types of things, I mean. So because of that, it's like I don't have that anymore, and I am like trying to find that same passion and drive that I found for others to get things done, so that others could have that happiness and have this and have that. I'm trying to find that for me, and it's a little upsetting because what I realize is that I have spent a really large bulk period of my life sacrificing and making decisions based off of others, right? And, some of that has to do with me being a female, right? Because females, we're just raised differently back in the days. Now it's a little different, but back in the days, we're raised, to make sure everything's all set, take care of this, take care of that, and that type of stuff gets in. But I also recognize that, excuse me, you guys, that I'm this way. Like, things like this began as me being the big sister of, I am the oldest of my siblings, and my dad and mom broke up when I was about 6, so I really had to help out. I had to step in, and I had to, watch my sister. When my brother came along, I had to watch him. My mom had to go to work, and there was a lot of responsibility that was put on my shoulders because she had to work, and so it was just natural that I would, become like the person who was making sure everybody else was okay. Let me just make sure everybody's okay. Make sure, before I'm okay. You know what I mean? Because if everybody wasn't okay, I was in trouble. And we can't have that, because my mother was like, listen, I am at work working. I expect bloop, bloop, bloop. So, you learn. And as you get older, you're becoming more and more responsible. And then I became a teen mother at the young age of 17. So then I became a mom, and the cycle continued. I was still caring for someone and making decisions solely based off of my son at the time. My only child at the time was my son Sean, and I was making decisions based off of what was best for him, not for me, but what was best for him. So the things that I did for me, I did for me because it was best for him. Like going to school, right? Okay, I'm gonna go to school to do hair because I can get out in a couple of months, and then I'll be able to have some money to provide for him. You know what I mean? So things like that. And that is how it's been. Then I became a wife, and was taking care of somebody. My husband and I's roles, were very not old school. No. But we do have roles in our household. So there was things like I would cook, I would clean, just taking care of the house, taking care of the family, things like that. But now that it is in all decisions, were always in my head from a what's best for the kids kind of thing, and it's always kind of been that way for me. For some of y'all it might be, okay, what's best for my husband, then what's best for my marriage, and then what's best for my kids. But for a long time I struggled with that because I was a teenage mom. So everything in my mind always generated first from what was best for my kids. And so even now, like, okay, now it's my husband and I, and it's like what's best for us, right? But I still find myself struggling with moving on for the things for me. Like it's hard to do something for me because I have spent my whole entire life making decisions based off of what worked best for the family, more importantly the kids, and because me and my husband, he sacrificed too, you know what I mean? Okay, the kids need this, the kids need that, let's do this for the kids, you see what I'm saying? So it's just difficult, y'all. It's just extremely difficult, and I'm finding that I'm having to discover who I am, basically, at this stage in my life, because I have had tiny squirts of periods, or tiny snippets of periods, where I may have, had moments where I learned things about myself, but really not really. You know what I mean? Because I have been literally living for my children all this time. And that, I don't regret that. I do not regret it. You know what? My kids are really good kids, and they are doing well because of the sacrifices. But because of the sacrifices, now it's my turn to find myself. And while that is extremely exciting, it is also really, really scary, because it's like uncharted waters, like and finding that, and it bothers me that it's that hard, because I see some women, and oh my gosh, like, they're doing their thing. They understand, like, that they have a space as well, and that they have to take care of themselves just as much as they have to take care of everybody else, and here I am, getting into that, and although I'm happy and loving it and trying new things and all that, it still is like really, really scary and frustrating, because I feel like I missed out on so much. If I had just fit myself in there a little bit too, all these years, if I had just fit myself in there, because everybody would have been okay. My kids wouldn't have turned. I'm not talking about going off and acting a hot mess. I'm just simply saying that, everything, when it came down to finding time for something, that usually fell in my space, like either taking away from something I had planned, or adding something onto the plate where I was getting maybe less sleep, or what I'm saying. So it just is what it is. But I wanted to share that, because I know that if I'm feeling that there's probably other women out there feeling that too, and I just wanted to connect with you and let you know that you're not alone, and that I know that if you're in my space like me, you may be feeling like different feelings, like you might be excited and then at the same time afraid and confused and sometimes lonely, because you're so used to having your children, right? Like your children right there talking to you, keeping you busy, and now you have to figure out what makes you happy and what you want to do with your life, because there's no one there doing that now. There's no one there filling up that space where you can't think for yourself and say, I just need some quiet time. Now you have quiet time, and now you can hear the Lord speaking to you about different things, and you're like, well, okay, how do I do that, Lord? And you can, and like I said, it's not like you don't know how to, but you just have never had to do it outside for with your own drive on the inside for yourself. There's always been the love or the dedication for, like I said, me was my kids, yours might be somebody else, so now it's just like say for instance, if some of you guys have been taking care of your parents and then they have transitioned, it's like, okay, so now what do I do? How do I put that same drive into my everyday life and pick up and get going on all these things that I've been wanting to do with that same passion, and it for people who are like, well, you just do it. It's like, honest to goodness, it's just not that easy, because it's like you're retraining your mind to like think about yourself. And if you haven't had the opportunity to do that on an ongoing basis, or if you've had to place that down to the side for a while, like, that can be really difficult. It can be challenging. But anywho, I just wanted to share that with you guys, and let you know like that I am taking it on. I am committed to like loving myself, to jumping on my self-love, self-discovery journey, trying out all these things that I've been wanting to do all this time in my life, but I've been like busy with my kids, or busy, just busy. And now I have the opportunity. So, okay, you guys, let me know what you think. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.